ده جاي متأخر.
Okay. Okay, so if somebody is choking, but they're coughing, crying, or talking, what do we do?
لو حد مخنوق بس بيكح أو بيعيط أو بيصوت هنعمل إيه؟ هنسيبه يكح.
Keep coughing, good. What happens if all of a sudden they start to go?
نعمل إيه لو ابتدى يعمل كده؟
بطلع على ظهره أو 5 pushes.
Okay. Good. Now, do you guys have they heard of this before? Like, do they do that?
انتوا سمعتوا عن الموضوع ده قبل كده؟ بتعملوا كده؟ في الفيلم بس؟ يصوت.
Okay, good, good. Well, that's where it starts, is in the movie. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hand out a couple of pillows. I'm just going to hand out a couple of pillows and just have them just do that a couple times because it's easier for people to remember and to learn if they've actually done it.
طيب هي هتوزع المخدات ونجرب كده كام مرة عشان الموضوع نفهمه ونجربه كده عشان لو حصل.
Oh, sorry.
بص كل واحد يعمل 5 مرات ويدي اللي جنبه إلا المتأخر.
Right? So just practice a couple times on your own. Like, I'm not doing it to watch you. I'm just doing it because you learn better. So make a fist.
فأعمل قبضة.
And then for me I get more power if I do this.
فبالنسبة لها هي بتاخد قوة أكتر لما تعمل كده.
And then just make a big fist. Put this part right here.
قفل جامد. حطها هنا. حط إيدك التانية.
And you want to find that V. Remember, we're not doing it up here. We're doing it where that V is.
وإحنا مش بنعملها اللي فوق. إحنا بنعمل في الحتة اللي هنا دي.
And then just pull in hard and fast.
وجامد بقى. واقف جامد. شدها.
Okay. And just pass the pillows around.
ودي بقى ودي المخدة اللي جنبك.
It's good. Now, do they do compressions and breathing at all?
بتعملوا ضغط وانعاش ولا لا؟
Yes. Enough time for what? Enough time before the ambulance gets here? I was going to say enough time before the ambulance gets here. Like, but do they learn that in their training?
انتوا اتعلمتوا في الموضوع ده في التمرين؟
Yes. Okay. Good. Has anybody ever had to do it?
عملتوها قبل كده؟
Yes. Good. Did it work?
5 ribs.
كسر he broke 5 ribs one time.
Ah, good. Did the person did they survive?
عايش؟
No.
Tell them I've done it too.
هي عملتها برضه.
And
they
died. But the reason that they died
سبب ان هم ماتوا
wasn't because of anything that we did. They were already dead before I started.
كانوا ماتوا قبل ما هي اصلا تبتدي الموضوع.
So we get a lot of people in the jail that self-injure.
عندنا في السجن الناس بتعور نفسها كتير.
Or try to commit suicide.
أو بتحاول تنتحر.
So a lot of the times they've been, if we have somebody who's hanging or somebody who's tied off.
عندنا كتير الناس بتشنق نفسها أو مربوطة.
They've been that way for quite some time before we come around and see them.
بنبقى بقالهم شوية معانا إحنا بنبقى لفينا وشفناهم.
And so I think for the most part that's why I do know people who have done CPR and the person has survived.
أنا عارفة ناس عملت الانعاش والناس عاشت.
But the important thing for us to remember is it's not a matter of what we do if they live or die.
حاجة مهمة إن إحنا نفتكرها مش إن إحنا عملناه المهم إن هو عايش أو ماتوا.
But that if they can get to the medical hospital, we're preserving all of the organs. So if they survive, they have a better chance of surviving with very little brain damage.
إن إحنا بنحافظ على أعضاء المعلومة إن هو يوصلوا للمستشفى، فلو هم عاشوا التأثير على المخ هيبقى أقل فهيعيشوا حياة أحسن.
Now also when we give breaths, so when we do the breathing, the 2 breaths,
وكمان لما إحنا بندي النفس
with an adult, so we do the 30 compressions, we do the 2 breaths, we want to make that seal around the mouth.
لما بنعمل مناطق وبندي 30 وندي نفسين عايزين نقفل البق.
Okay, so when we give the 2 breaths, we want to make sure that we plug the nose
عايزين نبقى متأكدين إن إحنا قافلين المناخير
and we give those breaths.
وإحنا بندي النفس.
If it's a baby, because their mouths are so very small and ours are much bigger,
لو هو بيبي وبقهم صغير واحنا بقنا اكبر قوي
you can go right around the baby's nose and the mouth.
انت ممكن تروح واخد المراخير بالمره.
It also works on dogs because I know you guys love dogs.
ممكن برضه تعملها على الكلاب عشان انتوا قد ايه احنا بنحب الكلاب.
Well, I'm not joking, it does, but I don't expect it to be that.
بيبقى هذا بس
So, oh yeah, so if for whatever reason, maybe the person you know that they have some disease that you're scared.
لو انت لأي سبب حاسس ان البني ادم ده عنده مرض او حاجه وانت خايف تديله تنفس بق.
Okay, a lot of the times I can do breaths, I can cup my hands, I can use my shirt.
ممكن استعمل الشيرت بتاعي، ممكن اعمل بايديا.
Okay, I know that depending on the amount of saliva or bodily fluids coming through, that's not going to completely save me from the disease.
أنا عارف يعني إن هو في برضه مش عارف السلايفا في يعني في حاجات هتبدل وممكن أعيا منه وبتاع مش هتحميني تماما بس يعني أهو.
But it's still a bit of a barrier so that you notice and you get away before that happens.
بس ممكن اللي هو بالتيشيرت يبقى فيه حماية شوية.
Right, napkins, paper towel, anything that you can blow through and get air, that's fine.
مناديل، فوت، أي حاجة شفافة كفاية إن أنت تعدي منها هواء تمام.
Okay. So.
Can you tell them about the using sound when someone is hanging?
Oh yeah. So usually, if somebody isn't breathing because they were tied off or they were hanging.
لو حد كان شايل نفسه واتخنق من الموضوع ده.
Sometimes you're gonna hear them making a noise.
وانت جاي تعمل صناعي ساعات هتسمع الصوت.
So you might think that they're breathing.
وتفتكر ان هو بيتنفسوا.
But in fact they're not.
بس في الحقيقة هم مش بيتنفسوا.
Okay, so when I talk about breathing, I'm talking about normal breathing, where you're seeing the chest rise, just like me and you do. That's normal breathing.
لازم الصوت اللي انت سامعه يبقى تنفس طبيعي مش صوت أي صوت تاني.
Sometimes when people are having the emergency because they've tied up or they've choked themselves out with something very tight around their neck.
ساعات لما الطوارئ لما عشان حد خنق نفسه أو ربط نفسه بحاجة.
They've done a lot of damage inside.
عمل تأثير جامد أوي جوه.
And so they kind of make this weird noise.
فبيعمل الصوت غريب كده.
It's kind of like, sorry, I remember it because I heard it. It was like.
فهي سمعت الصوت ده قبل كده وهو الصوت عامل كده.
It's just, we call it agonal respirations.
بيسموها agonal respirations هو اسم الصوت ده كده يعني.
Okay, it's basically air in the stomach that's leaving the body.
هي فكرة بس بيبقى صوت في البطن بيسيب الجسم.
We call it the death rattle.
احنا بنسميه صوت الموت.
And it's kind of hard to explain, but it's not normal breathing.
بس ده مش تنفس طبيعي فكمل في اللي انت بتعمله.
So specifically, if you're responding to somebody who has been hanging or has tied themselves off.
فبالذات لو انت داخل على واحد شانق نفسه او عامل مصيبه رابط نفسه.
Just try to remember that so you don't mistake that for breathing.
افتكر الموضوع ده عشان ما تتلخبطش بس وتفتكر ان هو بيتنفس.
Also, if they're not breathing but they're still making that sound, you're going to see that their skin is very, very pale. It almost becomes like a white, like light gray, waxy kind.
كمان لو هو مش بيتنفس هتلاقي جلده بقى شحم قوي، بقى ابيض قوي، فلازم ان هو يعني هو لو هو بيتنفس وشه هيبان عليه.
And a lot of times, a lot of my coworkers at the jail, when we respond to something like that, sometimes they mistake that for regular breathing.
وساعات كتير في السجن الناس اللي شغالة معايا بتفتكر ان الصوت ده معناه ان هو بيتنفس عادي.
Okay, so just keep that in mind.
خليكم فاكرين الموضوع ده بس.
When that happens.
لما ده يحصل.
Any questions?
أسئلة؟
Good group. Yeah, 7.
7.
Because people that smoke need 7 to go to the bathroom and have a smoke.
ماشي 7 دقايق راحة وبعدين نكمل.